Hi, I'm Gamer0101. You might be either watching this on my channel, most likely, or the player's channel. This is a series I'm making about our new stainless steel 6.4 hot seat. Check out Legend of Total War's video about it in the description below. But this is going to be a series about every faction and all its overview. I'm going to be doing each video in 4 separate parts. The map and its strategical advantages, its starting position, the alliances and enemies it should make, and unit overviews at the end of the video. Please enjoy as much editing goes into this. Okay, so this is the starting position of all factions that we start off. So remember, we are doing an early era campaign. So as you can see, Denmark is right up here, so I'm just going to narrow the map down to sort of this area that we're going to be using for the next couple of turns. So I'm going to be predicting what each faction might do, but just try and pay attention to Denmark the most. Okay, so as we see here, Denmark has taken this settlement up here north. Now, I think they can't take that settlement next to it because they will either not have enough troops at all. This might only happen by turn 3, the taking of this settlement, but I think definitely Denmark should aim to take that settlement immediately. It's the nearest settlement that is rebel, so by doing this action, it will not start any wars. It will gain some land where it can build things in the castle and gain more troops. Also, gaining this piece of land allows you to travel to the eastern side of Europe into sort of Russia a lot more easily, and to take those settlements in rather than Poland getting those northern rebel settlements. So I think that's really ideal, and I think Denmark and KODA would most likely do that. That's a very good move right there for turn 2. Okay, so now for turn 3, you can see there has been some change. France has taken some settlements, the Holy Roman Empire has taken some, Poland's taken a settlement, and yeah, so lots of things happen now. So this is what would happen throughout turn 2 and 3. I think these factions will take these settlements. So obviously Legend, being by himself against AI in Britannia, he will take Wales, I think. France, the blue there underneath England's red, I think will take the northern settlement up there, and possibly some eastern ones. Holy Roman Empire starts off with so much good things. I think it will most likely take north of Belgium, the Netherlands, sorry, and take some southern settlements. But for Denmark, okay, so as you see, it can't push west because that's already been taken. So now, what is its option? I think it should just gather some troops, look to expand to the Northern Isles, as we see that whole sort of coastline has quite a lot of available rebel settlements. Now, Poland most likely isn't going to push any further west. Those settlements will probably be taken by the Holy Roman Empire, and that means those two factions there will try push up north as well eventually, because they don't want to start any wars. So what they should do, Denmark, KODA should invade this sort of eastern lands and start getting this coastline. He should try and figuratively and physically dominate this coastline. It's a great trade routes for other factions, and it's a really strategic advantage. Okay, now for turn 4. As you see, some more settlements have been taken by faction, and as you see, Denmark has taken that northern settlement. Now, obviously, this is hoping that Denmark, in Denmark's case of course, not personally for me, but if Denmark has its shit together, it's got its good stuff, it may be able to do this by turn 4, taking these 2 settlements. I definitely think it should look to take the northern settlement, but that southern settlement is just as important as that northern island, because I'm not sure if it actually can get the northern island, as I think that other faction will take it. As you see, I've split it in half because I'm not sure what will happen there. So I think it's a safer bet actually to push from its rebel settlement that it's taken and push into the Russian coast, like right there, that settlement that is above Poland, because if it does that, it completely locks Poland and the other western factions from taking those rebel settlements there in the east. So it's basically secured at least 1 or 2 settlements there north, and it maybe even get a couple next to Poland on the east there. Now, obviously, you see, the Holy Roman Empire has it definitely will expand. Maybe not this big, but it will 100% expand early on. It's capable of doing that. France has taken some factions. England, I've just highlighted there because I think it will be at war with Scotland, maybe even taking some of Ireland. But really, Denmark's, since it's so scattered here and there's so many factions nearby, it definitely should, KODA should 100% look to take that southern settlement to get some settlements without starting any wars. The issue with taking that settlement is you expose yourself to a whole bigger front. You've got a lot more factions near you. You don't know if they're going to accept some of your agreements. They might even attack you. So the safer bet is taking the north, but then it's a low chance you'll actually be able to take that. So he might not get neither of these two, but I would say to KODA, Denmark has to try and get that southern settlement. It is ideal. Not essential, but very ideal. So now let's have a look at the next turn. Okay, now you may be thinking, whoa, this is just all really confusing. Okay, I'm going to explain everything. So as you see, the black arrows are for Denmark. So let's just go to Denmark right now. Okay, you see this first arrow coming from Denmark pushing south? I think it should invade that southern faction there. And I think it should, like I said, try and get those northern settlements just above Poland. If it does that, that is so ideal for Denmark. And if it does get this northern little island, it should even consider attacking that other faction over there. Sorry, I'm saying other. I don't know all the factions, of course. I'm not a god. Maybe I am. But yeah, so it definitely should try and attack those three, definitely two regions. But it would be ideal if it also could get that island. Because if it does get the island, it has a lot more, it has a higher chance of getting that faction taken out early on, that northern faction there. I think it should get an alliance with the faction it first borders. It should get an alliance with all the arrows that have ticks on it, so the Holy Roman Empire could definitely aid it in taking the south. Same with Poland right there. That could aid them in getting its southern borders secured and getting some more settlements down there. I think Poland might take that little rebel settlement in the middle of all those factions. Poland and the Holy Roman Empire should invade, I think, yeah, I don't know what faction, I'm forgetting these names, but they should invade that red faction there. I think France probably won't do anything. I don't think it will attack Legend. It might, and otherwise it will expand into those rebel settlements. Obviously the Holy Roman Empire will expand into a lot more rebel settlements. LegendofTotalWar here in England will most likely take Scotland very early on, and it should then push into Ireland after conquering Wales. Now you see there's an arrow crossing that sea north of England. I think this faction, because it's blocked by Denmark, and considering they do get an alliance, I think it would be smart to attack and start raiding the eastern coast of England. That weakens it, and maybe even if it can then get an alliance with France, you can actually take out LegendofTotalWar very early on. Of course, that isn't always possible. Legend's a beast. But I definitely think those two lower arrows for Denmark are what it should attack now. Obviously, I can't. This is all obviously not going to be true. This is what I expect to happen, and it's strategical advantages that I think KODA should do. Okay, but obviously this isn't all of the video, so now we're going to actually pop into the game and explore its starting position and its advantages that has and disadvantages that has. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so welcome in game. So this is, let's go early era, and we have Denmark right here. So let's start her up, and of course remember this is an early era 1100 AD campaign. So we're going to see, I'm going to give credit to Stainless Steel. We're going to leave that up for a couple of seconds. It's an amazing mod. Sub mod, I guess. Wait, no, yeah, never mind. Okay, so this is exactly what Denmark will start as. So we're actually going to go toggle foe here, so you can just see some other parts of the map. So as you see, we have the Kingdom of Norway. So the Norwegians are here. They've got two very western settlements, so it is possible that, if you remember my strategical position, I think Denmark 100% can get Skara from here, but it is possible they may even be able to take Oslo from Norway. Then Norway's only option would be either to attack England and Britannia or attack Denmark. So let's just see what we've got here in each army. So we've got Prince Cunard here on the eastern front with some Viking raiders, Norse archers, Levia archers, and spear militia. So that's a reasonably good settlement. Even though it's just a town, it's got 1,000 income there. Just some. So this is just a family member with that. You can look at the faction buildings there. Obviously, churches in all the settlements, I think. There has to be a church in this one. Okay, there's not. So he's going to have to build a church there. They're happy, though. They're getting 1.3k income. So this is their main this is their capital, I believe. It is the Danish capital here of Arthas. So we have King Eric here. He has some Viking raiders, archers, Levy archers, and spear militia. So it's very similar to this Lund army. So its western and eastern most settlements are the strongest. So as you see here, it starts off with 3 settlements. If we look at the movement here, they can probably get there by turn 2. Turn 3, they'll be able to get there most likely. These guys will probably get there at turn 2, but they can definitely 100% get Skara, I believe. So let's have a look. This also has an agent, so it has a princess. That is ideal for Denmark. So you can, I would most likely do this, marry off into this imperial castle, go in there, ask the Holy Roman Empire for some friendship, and then just send a diplomat all the way through Europe, just scouring everyone, asking about things. So it starts with 82% Catholic, 70%, 75%. So you most likely want to keep this Catholic in Roskilde. So he starts off with 1 fleet. I'd say use that to get some troops from your capital to aid in the Skara siege. Now, there's a lot more settlements here than I knew, so it is most likely that what I think he should do is go take Skara, leave Oslo to Norway, and then push on to take Kalmar, Nykøbing, and then I think, I'm not sure of course, I think the Livonians will have taken these northern rebel settlements, and then in time I think, I keep saying I think of course because this is not certain, we never know what's going to happen, but I'm pretty sure that as you can see here on the map, as I said before in the strategical map overview, I think we should be able to gather all these. So Denmark should be able to get all this. Then they can easily push south, as you see Poland. So if they just get strategic alliances with Poland, they can push south on this. But that's not really what we're looking for. This is what he sees. You're allowed to plan before every turn, by the way. So if you've got enough money to recruit a small church here and a small church here, as he only has 1 church, so he's standing with the Pope. Let's see what his standing is. So it's pretty, you know, middled. The only factions that are better is Venice and the Papal States, which makes sense. His diplomacy, so everyone starts off with enemies of the rebels, and his faction. So we know he's got 3 cities. Obviously it's all this stuff, so his victory condition isn't that, it's a hot seat. This is 100% what we do know you have. Okay, so let's look at his tree. So it's got his faction leader here, who's actually he's got pretty bad command for a king. He's got good authority though, and he's got quite a lot of traits. He's got his son, which has good command for his age. So he's got that, and then this princess, of course. So in a couple turns, he should have another princess, and he has this guy who's horrible, who's in the middle of town. He's in Roskilde here. This guy, he's horrible. He's just loyal. He's just there to get mercenaries and things like that. And I think they have a son there. So his faction tree is already quite big, which is very helpful to start off with. So this is what he starts off with. You can see everything here. Let's just go ahead and show you the neighboring factions like that. So now that you know what he starts off with, let's go ahead into the next section of this faction overview. Okay, we are sort of back on the map sort of section. We're now looking at strategical alliances and strategical enemies. Now, so we're going back to this little map I showed you earlier. Remember, make sure to like and subscribe to whoever you're watching this on. Most likely, my channel. I'm not sure KODA will upload this to his. If he is, hello. Anyway, so the strategical alliances for Denmark. Okay, so it is very, very essential Denmark gets an alliance with the Holy Roman Empire. It's not likely that the Holy Roman Empire will attack Denmark. He's got a lot of things on his plate by worrying about factions around him. He might even just try and push straight into Italy straight away, but personally, I wouldn't do that. I would try to get a more western front built up rather than a southern front in Italy. France he should get an alliance with, because that will stop France and the Holy Roman Empire fighting, which means you have a high chance of getting rid of Legend of Total War. So if France, Holy Roman Empire, and Denmark are all friends, either through Denmark's alliance with both of them, or through alliances through all of them, each having alliances with each other, that would be good. This will most likely be turn 6 or 5 by the time their diplomats reach each other. Now remember that. They could just send messages and they could have alliances that way. So that's most likely what I would do, send messages. It'd be a lot quicker. So once I've done that, he has straight away, he has basically eliminated Legend of Total War. Because if he gets an alliance with Norway, the thing I would do, I would ask Norway to invade Legend, and then Legend will most likely be taken and swept under by France. That would eliminate Legend and give the opportunity for this alliance to take over England. Now, there's probably going to be some betrayal, so I'm not sure what will happen there. I think once he's taken some of those southern settlements, which will probably be quite late in the turn, he should get an alliance with Poland. Not immediately. There's no need for that. So once he's in those southern settlements, he should definitely launch his attack from this little island under that middle arrow from Denmark, and then push on east. Once he's taken all those settlements, he could either push north or just hold that front and get an alliance with Poland, so the eastern front for him is secure. I wouldn't, but if everyone agrees to taking England, I don't think he should participate. Maybe because if he pushes all the way into England, he could risk the chance of losing everything. I mean, if he pushes into England and leaves his eastern front sort of, scattered and not properly secured through alliances and armies, there will most likely be betrayals in England if that's what they decide to do. There will be betrayals in England, because people will be fighting over land, and eventually France will get risk from south by the Moors and Spain, so he's going to have to relocate troops all the way. So basically, this is strategic for Denmark as well, as everyone will think it's good for them, but when those people move into England, apart from Norway, I think it will be good for them, they're all going to be really scattered, especially the Holy Roman Empire. And Denmark doesn't want to scatter itself even further west, because it's already taking these eastern settlements. So Denmark should solely focus on the east. Once all his quote-unquote allies are taking England, if that succeeds, then he should look forward to holding his eastern front, getting some alliances there, some peace negotiations maybe, being friends with Poland, and then he should try and focus on attacking the Holy Roman Empire and some of those other European factions there, because they'll be attacking each other, so he can just sweep in, clean up, and I think that's what he should do for alliances and enemies. Now let's have an overlook at his actual units that he starts off with. So let's take a peek. Okay, so I have a complete setup here of the Norwegian units it can choose. Denmark. So this section is sort of the earlier tier units, and this section is what will take quite a long time to get, as we are in an early era campaign. So let's go ahead and look at the units here. We have some peasant here. This is already, we saw, will be in Denmark's already formed armies, but we see them there. There's 102 of them in each unit, so there'll be 102 of these in each peasant legion, so that's okay. The thing is with most of Denmark's troops is you'll notice there's only one unit of spearmen, and that's these militia. They're okay, obviously, but there's no higher tiers because Denmark prefers to wield axes or swords rather than spears, which is a disappointment for me, because if I was playing this faction, I would know 100% I would want there to be spears. So this is its only unit of spears. It'll have 76 spear militia, so they're a light sort of infantry unit. Here we have another light infantry, the Viking Raiders. They wear some axes with shields. They're pretty good overall units to start off with. They're just sort of hack and slash ones, but you'll most likely be wanting to use your spear militia. Now for its archers, it's got some levy archers here, which we know are already within Denmark's armies. As you see, they're pretty good. There'll be 61 of them. What you want to do with archers, you want to spread them out as far as you can to get the most amount of range. And then it has this upgraded sort of skirmisher version, which are the Norse archers, and as you see, they're much more well equipped rather than the normal armies. Ignore that. That's because I just used another unit, because you have to have 2 units. Okay, my apologies. I didn't do that right. So let's just set this up like I had it before. Okay, so we have obviously these guys. Norse archers. Okay, let's put you over there. We don't need you. So we have these Viking Raiders. Once again, we don't need you. They're earlier tier units. Okay, so we have these 2 siege equipments here. Obviously, we have our infantry line. We'll put these guys here, and you'll notice that only the heavy infantry is available at the end. The cavalry, sorry, apologies, that the Kingdom of Denmark will have is this cavalry here. They are scouts, so they're not the best. As you can see, they kind of look like peasants on horseback, but they're great for just charging in and then pulling out again. So that's what they have in their early campaign as well, so in the earlier turns. So these units you'll most likely get if you upgrade correctly, obviously, within maybe 6 turns, something like that. But here we have the badass heavy infantry. These guys are slower, but 100 times better. So as you see, these guys are Viking landsmen. They've just got their longsword and their shield there. Now you'll notice these units have smaller size in each sort of legion. That's okay. They make up for it definitely with their qualities. So we'll get these guys. So we have the Viking landsmen then we have these Viking Huskarls, which are heavy infantry once again. The only infantry you can get later on is heavy. Not only, but the better infantry. So these guys are the axe version of the landsmen. They basically have the same equipment. They're led by the same badass knight. So we get these guys over here as well. Finally, for the infantry, we get the nobles, the feudal foot knights. These guys, they're the knights. Look, they all represent their own household. As you see here, this guy represents the pig household, or it's just, alright, it's shown as a Tsars. So these guys are the nobles of the land. So these guys are generally all lords, if you're thinking about real life medieval. So they are very, very strong. They have the swords, they have upgraded swords, and they have stronger shields, plus of course their armor. So these guys are the superior out of these 3. So it goes the Huskarls, the landsmen, and then the foot knights. So now let's have a look at the cavalry. So obviously we have some more over here. That's the General's Bodyguard. So this is the Huskarl cavalry. This is basically the Huskarl axemen on horseback. Now I wouldn't use this because realistically they don't have as further reach. They don't have as big of a unit size as actual Huskarls, but of course they are on horseback, so they're very maneuverable and very fast. These you unlock as well, the siege equipment. We have the ballistas here. There's 21 people arming them. So in case, I guess you could use them to fight. Obviously we have 21 units here as well for 2 catapults. So same unit size, different amount of stuff. So you most likely want to use these in a land battle, sort of smaller close quarters. You definitely want to use catapults in sort of this area where the army is actually all the way back there. So let's push up to the final unit. This is the cavalry, the General's Bodyguard. These would be knights as well, very, very good knights. As you see, they represent their own households there. So these guys, they have obviously the lancers, really good armor, and you can see now that their horses are protected as well. Whereas this unit just had little bear horse armor, and let's just compare that to these guys as horses. Look at that, they're just literally horses. So obviously this is the best cavalry unit. You're going to need a lot of them, and they cost a lot in upkeep and just general cost. So you're going to have quite a lot of them line up for it to be effective, apart from just pulling in, hitting them in the back, pulling out, hitting them back, and just repeating that process. That's basically all you can use this cavalry for, unless you have quite a large amount of these general bodyguard. So that's basically their infantry. We're going to pull out of this sort of in-game section, and I'm going to end this video. So I hope you all enjoyed. Let's get to the ending, really. I want to get out of this game here, right? Alright, let's go and do that. So I'll see you in a little bit, like a split second. Okay, wow guys, that was a stunning 25-minute video. Probably about 3 hours worth of editing though. So if you're watching this on KODA's channel, I'm Games01, link will be down in the description. I make lots of other videos like this Scotland stainless steel series. Considering you'll be watching this, you're most likely interested in that rather than my Warhammer series. If you're on my channel, thank you guys for watching this. Remember, it will be a weekly series, so this will make it 3 uploads for my channel. Of course, unless the Warhammer series ends, which most likely it will be soon. I just want to thank you all for watching. Next episode will be linked down in the description when it is online. Make sure to check out my Twitter for updates about all of this. And I want to thank LegendofTotalWar for doing this hot seat, otherwise there would be no faction overviews. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.